So there are a lot of myths and misconceptions about adoption, and I'm sure we've all come up against them once or twice. What are some of the ones that you guys have seen more?
They just don't, for some reason, they don't think that you love them.
Yeah.
And it makes me sad because look at my face and you ask me about adoption, and I know my face lights up. Like,
Right.
I grew somebody for 9 months. You know, that takes love because there's an option to not have to do that.
Right.
And, you know, it's family. You love your family. I just don't know how people can think that. And I feel like I show that I love him by giving him what he has now at whatever cost it was that it took to make that happen. And it's just so odd that somebody can think that about any child. Mm-hmm. How could I not love any cute little thing running around, especially one that I grew?
I think that is probably my number one as well, you know, but the reality is, if it were just a matter of people who can't be bothered to parent, abortion is so accessible and affordable and really not even socially stigmatized in a lot of circles either. I feel like people who don't want children don't have children, you know, in this day and age. And it wasn't a matter of not being able to be bothered, you know, to be a parent or that I didn't want him. I mean, what kind of monster am I? Mm-hmm. You know, that I don't want my own offspring. You know, cats want their, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, of course, you know, yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, I get a lot of times, I don't know if you guys get this, but a lot of times when I say that I place my daughter for adoption, one of the first questions is like, oh, well, did you get to pick the family? And I think it's so funny that people still are so uneducated about adoption. Like, they think it's back in the dark ages where I was in a hospital room, they took my baby away from me, and I know nothing. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, that opens up an opportunity. Like, well, of course I got to pick the family, you know. You get to be as picky as you want. You get to pick this wonderful family, develop a relationship with them, be involved in the child's life. But people really are so uneducated in adoption, and they just think like, oh, well, you know, do you even know where they're at or if they're happy or what's going on with them?
Yeah. I look at it the same way. It's an opportunity to educate.
Yeah.
And it used to, you know, in earlier years, I would just kind of get flustered. If anyone misunderstood it, it was so close to my heart, you know, and so tender to me and so personal that I would just be like, stumble over my word. I couldn't say anything, you know, but now I'm a little thicker skinned and I just say, oh, well, how did you come to think that? And let me present a different way to look at it, you know?
Yeah, along those same lines, there's a lot of people who wonder how you could continue a relationship with a child, you know, once they have the idea almost as if you've discarded the child. Right. But that relationship is so important for everyone involved.
It doesn't go away.
It doesn't.
Yeah, and some people think that because you placed, you've lost interest.
Yeah.
Like, people see his picture up at my work, they're like, oh, you still see him? I'm like, yeah, why wouldn't I want to? Like, I'm sitting next to him in the picture, like, yeah, I still see him. And they just kind of either look like, that's really great, or, oh, you still care. Like,
or a lot of people's idea about open adoption is just like, isn't that weird? And I'm like, explain to me why. I'm a human, they're humans. We all both know other humans, you know, like, what is the big deal? We love each other. Why shouldn't we? Why should we be estranged from one another? Yeah. There's this idea that you're co-parenting, you know, like, isn't the kid confused about, if the adults are not confused, the kid's not confused, you know? And if you tell a kid from the time they're little, you have a mom, you have a birth mom, you have aunts and uncles and cousins, they go, oh, cool. Yeah, you know?
They don't know that it's weird. Like, I remember my little guy, he sat next to me and he just looked at me and said, you're my birth mom. Right. And I was like, I am. Who told you that? He's like, my mom. And I was like, he was like 4.5. Yeah. Totally just like not a thing. That just, if he can get it, why can't everybody?
My friend Norma, she's like the best friend and preferred babysitter of the adoptive family, you know, and she was holding the son that she had placed and he like smacked her or something. And she's like, she looks at his dad and she's like, you know, so like there's not this confusion about like who's parenting the child. She's definitely like, he's yours. Deal with that, you know, like, and I think people have this idea that because that maternal instinct is so strong, that you won't be able to help yourself but interfere and step on toes and that boundaries. But you know what? We have common sense. We're intelligent people. We've already proven we can put the best interest of our child first. Why would that stop the next day? You know?
Definitely.
I think a lot of people also think that by placing, I assigned a babysitter. And that at some point the babysitter's going to go and the kid's going to come back. They asked me, well, you know, is he going to come be with you when he's older? I was like, we'll go to lunch and stuff. But it's not like, no, like, he was planted into a life and a family. Like, it's not, it doesn't come and go. It's not, Like
Yeah.
that's his family. Like
It is.
he has their last name. He lives in their house.
It's not second rate or pretend situation.
Yeah, it's not.
We're not the real parents.
Yeah, it's not.
There are no fake parents in the scenario.